Virtual reality has become a hot media subject over the last year. Before going further, let's get clear about what makes this reality virtual. It's the ability to see something as if you're in the middle of the action and direct what you see up, down, or around in 360-degree fashion. Yes, you become the director. To witness virtual reality, the bet is you'll need a device of some kind, a helmet or other headgear, glasses, goggles, or a viewfinder like Google's Cardboard. But what if you could watch virtual reality on your television set without putting on or buying an outside device and just use your voice or touch the remote? Think I'm somewhere along the outer limits? Well, try this on. You can, right now, if you have Apple TV version 2.0. Among the more than 3,000 applications in action right now is Little Star, a virtual reality showcase that over the last month has become one of Apple TV's most popular attractions. Let's watch.
Hi, I'm Tony Quiroga with Car and Driver Magazine, and I'm here to take you on a virtual lap of VIR in the AMG GTS. The AMG GTS is new this year. It has a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. It's a lot like the old SLS. They have a similar architecture. They're laid out similarly. The engine is set really far back. The car is terrifically balanced, wonderful turn-in. Really strong brakes. It's got carbon ceramic brakes, which just never go away. The tires definitely go away before the brakes go away. And speaking of tires, this one's on Pilot Sport Cup 2s, which is a really sticky, track performance tire. You can use them on the street, but they're definitely intended for track days. Right now we're moving through the S's on our way to the uphill S's as we pass the Nissan Bridge. Typically we're entering this at probably just over 130 miles an hour if we were going full speed. And it's a gentle left-right transition, except at speed, the car tends to get airborne occasionally, depending on the car you're driving. And then this is probably the most terrifying part of the track for me. It's this left-hand off-camber downhill that really doesn't have much of an exit. And here we are coming up.
Car and Driver, one of Little Star's attractions. And now real and live in our studio, Little Star co-founder and executive chairman, Tony Mugavero. Welcome to BK Live, Tony.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So among those 3,000 or so Apple TV apps, how is your app doing?
It's doing really well. I mean, we got an overwhelming response. We put a little bit of press out there, and then it started to get picked up, and it snowballed, and then ABC national television talked about it, and Apple featured it organically, and then it broke into the top apps in the Apple TV in the US, which is difficult, and it was even in the top 10 in some countries around the world. So we got a tremendous response on the Apple TV, and the new controller with the swipe controller really made it possible for us to take our content and our application into that environment, and yeah, it worked really well.
So if you're watching that Car and Driver video we just played, and you had that Apple TV remote and Siri using the voice control, you could, from that position we saw the camera in, you could move that camera up, down, and in a 360 fashion. So that camera, if you wanted to go right, let's say playing that video, you could go to your side of the car, the back of the car, and this is as the picture is going. This is not a static picture. This is a picture that constantly moves.
That's right. So we take that image and essentially wrap it around a sphere so that you can look out the passenger window, you can look at the driver, you can look at the controls if you want, and there could be 1 million people watching the stream all looking in different directions, so they can kind of look at what they find most interesting to them.
So with all the talk about virtual reality being, if you want to see this, you want to use this, you have to buy an Oculus helmet or a headgear. You got to use a device like Google Cardboard, viewfinder type device. You have to buy goggles or glasses. Why'd you decide, let's just put it on the TV set, let's use a small remote, and let's make it apparently so easy for the user?
Yeah, I think 360-degree video presents a unique opportunity for virtual reality in that it's going to take some time for the market to adopt virtual reality headsets. It's pretty substantial, something that you put on your head. It's a little bit of a behavioral change that people need to get used to. So, we saw the opportunity with 360-degree video to put that in environments on devices that people already have. So we have mobile apps, we can view it on the web, you can view it on Apple TV, soon game consoles, and then that same content can also be viewed in a virtual reality headset. And that allows companies like Car and Driver and Showtime and Discovery to get that to a much wider audience and bring people into the fold of immersive media. So, you know, it's a new way of interacting with content. It's a new way of consuming it. You're basically putting a TV on your face now. So there's a lot of new behaviors that go there, and including new production techniques and distribution techniques that we found 360 video to be a great bridge of those two worlds to bring people into immersive technology.
How many videos, Tony, do you have now on your app? How fast are the videos coming your way? And are you getting a sense of what types or genres of videos are people using the most on your app? Is it travel? Is it gaming? Is it nature? What do you say?
Yeah, so we have north of 6,000 pieces of content now, and it's accelerating at the rate that we're getting new content. So when we started out, it was 5 or 10 pieces a day, and now we're getting 50 or 60 pieces a day. So, and that number is consistently accelerating. We're seeing, journalism is very interesting to people, both on the content creation side, but also on the consumer side. So, we're seeing a lot of great stories. We have, Wall Street Journal and ABC and, a number of other publications on the platform. And so journalism is one of the places where you really want to see what's going on in 360 degrees. So, if you're in the moment and, you're on location, seeing everything in 360 degrees makes total sense there. So that's journalism, and, reporting is a big one. We're also seeing sports, so we've done some things with the Mets. We did some, like being on the field during batting practice. Fans can't really get a chance to do that, so there's an opportunity to bring fans behind the scenes. And then also at sporting events, it's almost like putting a camera on the 50-yard line and being able to sit there and watch a football game just like you're sitting right there, or even sitting right next to the players on the bench. Mm-hmm. So it gives people a sense of being actually there in the moment. Music is another really big one. Obviously, if you can't be at a concert, what's the next best thing to be at a concert is being able to look around like in virtual reality. Mm-hmm. So, we're also seeing a bunch of travel-related, nature-related type things. So Discovery Channel has a bunch of content on the platform. We have other things from National Geographic. They take you around and tell you basically, all about Yellowstone. So tons of great content that we're seeing with the sky's the limit.
If you don't have Apple TV, Tony, you have a smart TV set from the makes of Samsung and Vizio and LG and so forth, or you have Roku, or you have Chromecast. When do they get to see your app?
Soon, very soon. So those are, we're building product as fast as we can to work across as many devices as we can. So Apple TV was a good first entry for us, and we could, it's a new device going into the holidays with a new control mechanism and that highlights what we're building. So we targeted that first, but Android-based TVs and smart TVs and Roku and anything that you can basically hook up a controller to that can move things around, including game systems where you don't need a virtual reality headset, but you can control the view with a controller. We'll try to be there. So it may take a little bit of time, but we're looking at maybe Q2 for those platforms.
So by the end of June, this could be wider circulated. Is anyone else following your lead with Apple TV, also doing virtual reality or looking at doing virtual reality apps? And also, if we find that virtual reality takes off on the television set, what happens to everybody like Oculus and Samsung that makes the bet in order for the public to take this programming and use it, they got to buy a device that just costs $100? Are they going to be proven wrong like 3D a couple years ago?
I don't know. I think this is a fundamentally different medium than 3D. So, and there's many of the biggest tech companies in the world behind it with billions of dollars now. So, I think there will be room for virtual reality headsets. That said, I think it's going to take some time, and I don't think it will ever replace the television fully. Maybe in 50 years or something, or 20 years, but it's going to take a long time before we see, 50 million or 100 million virtual reality headsets in the home, where people come home from work and they put on a virtual reality headset and that's their primary means of consumption. That's going to take some time. It's almost a generational thing. Maybe my daughter will grow up and that's what she does, but she's one.
Two other points. Last week, Apple TV had Developer Day here in New York. They've been doing it around the country, and I'm curious whether how many of the developers are looking at what Tony is doing as sort of a bellwether to leap on from. The other thing is, how big will scripted TV play in virtual reality? We know that The Expanse, Sci-Fi's new hit series, which is going to be back for a second season in 2017, they already have a VR application. By the way, are you taking that VR application, Tony, The Expanse?
For what is it?
For their TV series, The Expanse, they've done a VR tape.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, we haven't had any discussions around that, so yeah.
But there is a sense that sooner or later, the folks who make scripted comedy, drama, epics, et cetera, are going to, if not turn their show into a VR situation for anybody with any set they got, they may do a separate supplemental thing. The Martian, the movie that did get some Oscar nominations last Thursday, they have done a tape that you can see with Oculus and other VR devices. And I've seen some animated programming which uses VR that is really striking. So I think the animation community could really take itself to a whole different dimension.
It seems to me like there could be great archival sort of things you could do with it. Like, who wouldn't want to be like at a Sinatra show when he was at his prime, or go see Michael Jackson when he was like the Motown 25 or something, and put you like in the audience to do all, or like Elvis or some dead person. It would be great.
And what's interesting about VR is that you get to play director in the moment. Because it's not a still picture, you direct it any way you want. So how you control things, whether you want to go up, down, left, right, is going to be different from how somebody else does. So you can see a show in so many different ways depending on when you make the movement and also what you see at that point.
Is that so annoying technically to shoot? Is it just like the shooting day takes 6 times longer because you got to shoot through 6 different eyes?
No, I mean, the simplest way to think about it is that it's a normal production plus about 30%.
Yeah.
So 30% everywhere. A little bit more setup time, a little bit more editing time. Yeah. Just a little bit more. So
think of the sets, like, because there's not going to be a bunch of guys like this over in the corner.
Right. The biggest challenge is
from a box.
Right. It's a storytelling issue as well, because you're used to having people behind the camera, and you can hide things, and it's a forced perspective. In 360 degrees, it's total freedom, and you have to be tricky about, everybody has to know what they're doing.
And one quick thing, Home Advisor is about to become an Apple TV app too. So.
No, thank you, Tony. Thank you, Simon.